Hello and welcome to PMCLounge.com. My name is Shoaib and today I have with me Yogesh. He's recently cleared his PMP exam. Yogesh, thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you, Shoaib. Thank you.
So, Yogesh, before we talk about your experience with the PMP, if you could brief us about your career, a very high level, your experience so far, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Yogesh Kumar. I completed my MBA in marketing and finance, and after that, I joined one insurance company, uh, which is Canada-based multinational company. And I started my journey as an executive, and right now I'm working as in capacity of assistant manager in operation. And for last 3 4 years since that time, I joined the management role. I've been the part of a lot of projects here, and we are trying to create the good customer experience by moving from the paper claim submission to the mobile and web submission, so that we can reduce the turnaround time. And while working on these projects, I played the role of subject matter expert in a couple of projects. In couple of projects, I was like passive stakeholder where project team was just informing me that hey, we are creating this product for you and we want to know about your feedback on those things. And that's how the thought of doing project management came in my mind. The initial seed came in my mind in 2021, and after that, I started to look into the different options for from where I can come to know about the certification related to the projects. So there are a lot of ideas were there, and a lot of people have shared their ideas that you can do your project management from the IIM, from the IIT. Then I came to know about the PMP certification. And here I think YouTube channels played a very vital role. And I came to know about the PMC launch during that time, and couple of other YouTube channels. And I think from where I get the direction of doing the project management. And right now I'm very happy after completing the my PMP certification. And I think now I can see the project as a whole, why I was like a passive stakeholder, why people were only asking me that are you happy with the the application which we have created for you, why they were asking that what are the different test cases you have to write for us. So
Mhm.
now I think I have uh, uh, also started couple of projects in my organization, and I hope that I will be able to create value with my PMP knowledge.
So overall, PMP has given you the ability to look at the bigger picture. That's great to hear. One other thing that I really liked about your introduction was that you do not come from a software background or a IT background as such, because a lot of people that take up the PMP exam are from that kind of background. So I really like that you went out of your way to learn about project management, learn about PMP, and then finally went in and got yourself the certification. Now, you also kind of answered my next question, where I was trying to ask you, why did you decide to take up the PMP certification? You just mentioned that you've already done your research about IIT, IIM offering some courses on PMP certifications. But are you aware of other project management certifications out there as well? And did you ever thought about taking them up, like let's say a certified Scrum Master or something of that sort?
Yeah, so Shoaib, if we talk about our organization, so for last 3 4 years, I've seen a lot of development in the where organization is working to create the agile culture. So
Mm-hmm.
agile is more about the mindset. And I think couple of days back, I went to YouTube videos where one of the gentlemen asked a question related to the relevance of doing project management if he has the operation background, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
addressed that question. Yeah. Uh, so initially, I also had couple of things in my mind that if you see the job description or the kind of opportunities which are coming into the organization, these are more related to the scrum master. right?
Mhm.
Because the team size is small. There are only 10 team members, and one scrum master is required to fulfill and if I talk about my organization as well, if there are 10 IJPs are rolled out, so 7 are for the scrum master and 3 for the project management role. And see, same you can see if you go through the job portals and all. So I initially very reluctant, should I go for the master certification or the PMP, because in market everybody is talking about the scrum master, everybody is talking about the person should have the IT background.
My
uh,
question had more to do with other certifications, though, and you touched upon how Scrum Master is a popular job role within your organization as well. But
yeah,
when we prepare for PMP, we also have to study a lot of agile in addition to the 10 knowledge areas. So let's talk
yeah.
about the books that you used. How was your preparation journey? What did you use to learn about PMP and agile also?
Yeah, I think in your previous question, I could not touch upon the why did I not select the CSM or the PSM certification. The reason of that was that when I was going through the PMP course, so that point of time, there the 50% weightage I would say that is on the agile side, right? And
Yeah.
PMP cover all the framework, agile framework, like be it the Scrum, Kanban, or XP programming. So I came to know about all those agile framework during that period. And before PMP, I had enrolled myself for the PSM one, but
Mhm.
I did not take that exam. I thought at first I have to target the PMP, and after 1 month I will go for the PSM one. But after completing PMP exam, I can say that the Scrum part is already covered, and without going for the preparation, I can complete at least the PSM one.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the reason that uh, I preferred a PMP over the others agile certification. But
Mhm.
definitely it is good to have either the if you see the market dynamics, most of the jobs related to the Scrum master, so having the knowledge of the Scrum framework will definitely boost your career and will give you the
Absolutely.
added advantage. So
Mhm.
again, the second thought was in my mind whether I should go for the PMP, PMI ACP, or for the Scrum Master. So in
Mhm.
at present, I have selected that I should go for the Scrum Master, and if any, if my career direction goes into the Scrum role, so definitely I can go for the further certification and will
Yeah.
increase my knowledge on the Scrum part.
Mhm.
Otherwise, if I have to expand my knowledge on the other agile frameworks, so I will try for the ACP.
Yeah.
And talking about the different books which I refer during my journey, so the first book, Rita's 10th edition.
Mhm.
After that, I had the Udemy license from my organization, so I selected both the Udemy courses, which are the first choice for the PMP aspirants, and these are the Andrew Ramdale's course and Joseph Phillips course.
Mhm.
Uh, so I was little bit biased towards the Udemy course of Andrew Ramdale. uh, I could relate because there are certain section, I think, which are very helpful on that
Mhm.
course, like the agile mindset, or the mindset before you are going to the exam. So I would recommend everyone who is
Mhm.
going to take part into the exam, just review those videos just couple of days before your exam, and these are very helpful. So
Mhm.
these are the two Udemy courses I uh, went through along with the Rita's 10th edition, and
Great.
I completely reviewed the agile practice guide.
Mhm.
And my the way I was preparing for this exam was, after completing the first knowledge area, let's suppose I have completed the integration management. So there were 20 questions from the and use course. So I used to complete those 20 courses. After that, I used to go to the Rita's book, and there are 20 to 25 questions on that. And same process I was following from the Joseph's book. So
Got
after
it.
every knowledge area, for every knowledge area, I think I completed 70 to 80 questions.
Wow.
And I used to track my performance, that if I'm scoring less than 60% in any knowledge area, I will go through that knowledge area once again. Probably might
Mhm.
not be from the Andrews video, because first time I went through that video, but I was not able to score 60%. So this time I can again go to the Joseph videos. Might be if certain topics are not clear to me, I can uh, rectify those errors. So
Mhm.
this is the approach I followed. So after completing 10 knowledge areas, I had completed approximately 1,000 questions based on those
Wow.
10 knowledge areas. Then I completed my agile journey with the. I only referred the videos of Andrew Ramdale, and because somehow, because our culture is in organization is agile, so I was able to relate all the topics or all the things we were reading. So uh, going through the agile practice guide was not a tough task for me that point of time. I
Mhm.
think within a 10 days I covered the a complete book, because it is more about the creating the mindset.
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
I believe, if
Mhm.
you talk about the scrum, if you are aware that what are the different roles in the scrum and what are the different ceremonies, so after that, whatever decision as a project manager or a scrum master you are going to take, it is more about the mindset,
The
right?
mindset, absolutely.
And initially, I did face challenge while answering the questions, because when you are in operation, your approach is more like a transactional manager, right?
Mhm.
Because we are doing the repeated tasks. So if somebody is doing well, so we have to award them. If somebody is not doing well, so in that case we might have to create the action plan, or might create the feedback plan for those. But agile is more about the servant leadership, where you have to empower your team members, you have to involve them in the decision making. So
Mhm.
I think uh, I think it helped me a lot. I think also helped me to change the way I deal with the people, or with my team.
Excellent.
So right.
Mhm.
So this is all about the study material I referred. And
Mhm.
after completing the course, I think it took me 2 months to went through the videos and completing the Rita's 10th edition. And
Mhm.
after that, uh, for the agile part, because Rita's book is more about the waterfall or the predictive
Waterfall, yeah.
approach. Yeah.
Mhm.
So for that, I referred one YouTube video where it is by the David, and he has 200 questions related to the agile mindset.
Wow.
So I went. This is a 6 hours long video. I would recommend everyone who is preparing for the PMP to go through that video, because
Mhm.
now PMP exam is more about the agile. So
Absolutely.
in the exam which I attempt, I think 60 to 70% questions were from agile, and 30% contribution from the predictive. But it is very very essential that you have to be very very strong on the predictive part as well.
Mhm.
Actually, what happened during the exam, in the first half, the first 60 questions, I think the weightage of the predictive was quite high. I think 30 to 40 questions
Mhm.
from the predictive and 20 questions from the agile. And it took
Okay.
me for 80 minutes to complete those 60 questions. And I was like, after completing those 60 questions, I took the break, and I was like, I might not be able to clear the exam,
Complete.
because yes. So I after I returned back from the my break. So in the second half, 60 next 60 questions were more related to the agile and related portion from the predictive. So I
Mhm.
completed that portion, very easily, and I was like that, now 1-1, and so the two half are completed. So the score is 1-1. So I have to win the third half as well. So uh, I think, that's how exam, you have to make yourself mentally strong, because usually when you go and see the first 60 questions are very tough, so you get hopeless that you might not be able to clear the exam, or you may take the unnecessary extra time to complete those 60
Mhm.
questions. So it will be difficult for you to complete all the 180 questions in the required time. But the good part about me was that I completed my 180 questions and I had 45 minutes to go.
Mhm. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So, where did the PMC Lounge come into the picture about your entire journey of PMV preparation?
Yeah. So, Shoaib, so first of all, the interview you are conducting, right? So recently, I saw your interview related where you addressed the question: is it helpful for the operation manager to attempt for the PMP exam, right? So
Mhm.
during the preparation journey, a lot of time, when you are not doing well, you try to identify the excuses, right?
Mhm.
Whether I'm going on the right direction or not. So that time, I used to go through the videos where uh, you were asking question to the people who cracked the PMP exam. That was
Yeah.
their approach to handle the pressure situation and preparation material. And the second thing, uh, when I was going through the book or going through the Udemy courses, there are certain chapters where I was not very much confident, even going through the videos or the book. So, for example, in procurement management. It
Mhm.
was a very small chapter, but it was quite difficult for me to understand the different type of the contact. So for those things, I used to just people say that in programming Google is your best friend. So for my PMP journey, YouTube was my best friend. So I just
Mhm.
used to search the concept on the YouTube, and I think the initial few names which were reflecting for those topics, because I think you have very well picked the important topics from the each knowledge areas. So you might have not created the descriptive course for the PMP, but you have selected all the key concepts which are very very required. So if you talk about the procurement management, so having the knowledge of the different contract type are very very essential. So
Yeah.
this is the one video, I think, I was very very confused that time. I was not able to understand that how to select the correct contract type, and different the explanation was also not very very unstable for me. So this one video which I referred on the PMC launch, and in a similar way, whenever new term used to come which I did not cover during the Rita's book, or you know uh, in the Telegram or in the WhatsApp, people used to say that, hey, what do we say to this, how do you describe this term, or what is the use of that term in the PMP. So if I used to familiar with those things, it was used to boost my confidence. If I was not sure, so I used to search those things, and it is important when you are searching that you are picking uh, the material of the most trusted people.
No. You
So
also touched upon how you've cleared so many questions, right? Did you take up any mock exam as well, in addition to all the chapter related questions that you solved?
yes, so after completing my Udemy course, I went through few free questions first. I referred. So for that, what I used to do, I had subscribed your channel, so you have 10 to 15 videos related to
Yeah.
the PMP question. So I think in one video there are 4 to 5 questions. So this is what my approach was, that on daily basis I have to cover at least 50 to 60 questions. So
Mhm.
uh, lot of people say that you have to complete 180 exams in one go so that you can prepare yourself for the PMP exam. But my
Yeah,
advice would be, don't go with that approach of completing 180 questions. Just break it down to 60 question, and this is how you are going to attempt your exam in the uh,
correct.
real exam atmosphere.
Mhm.
So what I used to do, Shoaib, so I created I went through the playlist of yours. So I watched all the videos which you have created uh, related to the PMP question, and after that I subscribed to mock test first from the Nilotpals. So I would recommend this Udemy course to everyone because this is more relevant to the exam. So
Mhm.
it has a great combination of agile uh, and the predictive. So this is the first mock test I attempted, and after that, I second mock test was from again from the Udemy, and
Mhm.
that was from the Tridevs. So uh, this one is also very good mock test. Also,
Throughout our discussion, I think a lot of people will have a lot of clarity on what kind of resources they can use when they are preparing for the PMP exam. I had a lot of other questions as well, but maybe we might have to do this in another session because the video may go
yes,
way too long.
right,
So, thank
right.
you so much. I think we can wrap it up this time around. Thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate it, Yogesh.
Thank you for your giving me this opportunity, Shoaib.